Hi, a good evening to you, and you are most welcome. It is The Bottom Line, the show that comes to you every Wednesday, 9 p.m. on your Church of Uganda Television Family TV. It's exciting to have you and looking forward to staying with you for the duration of this episode. Baguma Tinkasimira Richard, as always, in studio, and the way I start is glory to God, the most powerful, but also the most merciful, for giving us the opportunity to come again here, giving us the breath and the health, and having you, our viewers, being with us. Thank you so much for being your patrons, and we are looking forward to staying with you. Tonight, on The Bottom Line, it's 10 days after the International Women's Day, but it's still within the Women's Month. And again, in this program, we focus on issues of women empowerment, particularly the women empowerment movement. We will look at it, especially in this country, but of course, it's a global thing. And I am privileged tonight to have some very interesting and powerful people, and I'm looking forward to share their perspectives. First is Helen Zion Sayuni. Helen Zion Sayuni presides over the Uganda Young Democrats, the UYD. She's with us in studio. Winfred Mugambwa. Winfred Mugambwa, it's very nice to interact with you on television again, this time on another television. She's the executive director for Rights for Her, and she's going to explain what Rights for Her actually does. And my resident panelist, the global geostrategic analyst, lawyer, and Pan-Africanist, Dr. Daniel Rugarama, seated very nicely in between the powerful ladies.
In a tie.
And Dr. Daniel Rugarama has appeared with a tie today. Gentlemen and ladies, you're very, very welcome. And I'll start from the extreme end. From me, Helen Zion, you're very welcome to the studio.
Thank you so much.
Kindly say hello to our viewers.
Hello, viewers. Good evening. We thank God that we are here today. God is merciful, and we appreciate the grace that we are still living, and we are still celebrating the Women's Month. Until the end of the month, women out there are very proud, and please continue appreciating them, showing them love, and, you know, giving to gain. Yeah.
What is UID?
Yeah, sure. UID is the youth wing of Democratic Party. Yes, it is
the Green and White Party.
The Green and White Party of the Honorable Norbert Mao, but also the oldest political party, which believes in truth and justice, whose symbol is the whole. Yes.
You're very welcome. Is it your maiden Bottom Line show?
Yes, yes. It's
so
my
you are
first
welcome
time to be on this show.
You are welcome.
Thank you so much
to the maiden Bottom Line show for you.
I am hoping there is going to be much celebration, as it is Women's Month also.
Absolutely.
And maiden is something.
And we are looking forward to having you beyond the Women's Month.
Yes.
So that we can also keep talking about the youth issues.
Yes, sure, I will keep coming.
Absolutely. I will skip the timer for now. And I will go to Winfred. Winfred Mugambwa, we have been on TV together elsewhere.
Yes.
It's nice to see you again.
Happy to see you again.
Welcome to the show. Say hello to our viewers. Tell them, what is this Rights for Her?
Thank you so much. Thank you for hosting me, and I'm happy to be with you on the panel again. What excited me most was about the theme, counting the gains. And because most times people say we are in the Women's Month, we are celebrating women, we are celebrating the gains. But this caught me so much. It spoke to me, and it's the reality. We have to count the gain. Because I ask myself, do we have to celebrate? Because celebration brings comfort. To me, it gets me to rethink about what celebration is. And when I was coming and asking for directions, I was going around, I saw very, very many women, many carrying baskets, many seated alongside the road. And I was like, okay, these are the gains we are going to count. Are they the ones? I was asking in my head. So I was like, okay, let me go through the show.
You're very welcome.
Rights for Uganda. Rights for Uganda is an ecofeminist women-led organization. We work at the intersection of climate justice, gender equality, and human rights. As ecofeminists, we believe that the imbalances in power that bring exploitation on women are the same that bring exploitation on the planet. So we believe that you can't handle women alone and then the planet issues alone. These two are intersectional, so you need to work on the two hand in hand. Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you so much. Women and planet. Yes.
Okay, very interesting. Ecofeminist. All right, this it's very interesting, the things you learn every day. Dr. Daniel Rugaram, my resident panelist, you're welcome.
Thank you so much, Comrade Waguma, and a very good evening to our esteemed viewers, my two sisters here. I heard you refer to them as ladies, and by the standards of Makerere, it would mean that they all resided in Africa Hall.
Okay.
I am extremely happy that we are having this debate, because I think one of the core mandates upon which NRM promised to deliver to this country was to make sure that they bring women to the forefront.
Mm. Okay, we are going to hear from the women about that as well. There are many things I think to talk about. As a moderator, I feel excluded because I have to guide the show and be very careful what I say. So I will just kickstart it off with you, Zion. The focus for this program and the month really has been to test, check, examine, what gains has this women empowerment movement brought to Uganda, brought to the Ugandan woman, the Ugandan girl, if any. So from your perspective, any gains?
Yeah, sure. There are many gains, though some people want to personalize gains to their movements and want to politicize the gains, to suit what I do not want to call ego, but the gains are there, but the gains should be actually celebrated with the focus of the people that have actually fought for these gains. When you talk of gains, you must also look at where we have come from, where we've come from as women, and where we are going. We might not be exactly where we want to be, but definitely we are somewhere. That's something that I feel we should all appreciate. We are talking about a woman who has been, women that were then. For us, the good thing is that we've grown up in the times where at least there is something for us, to celebrate, to be happy that you're a woman, to sit on such a panel, to go out there. But when you listen to our mothers and the fighters of the women movement, you can see that there was a cause. So when we are talking about the gains, we must look at the cause, to which extent and to where they started from. We are talking about women that were not allowed to get out of homes. But right now, women can at least sit in tables, decide on what they actually want. we are talking about women that could not even go to school. I normally listen to the story of Honorable Miriam Matembe. At one time, she was telling us how she almost failed to go to school because then the father preferred the boys could go, you know. So, but now we have schools, we have cut-off points where at least ladies can go to school, you know, compete with male in the same universities. We have scholarships, girls still compete with them. There is a certain percentage. Government programs, we appreciate the PDM at least also talks about women. So these are the things we talk about. We appreciate there is affirmative action when you talk about women in leadership, to which I am, of course. I appreciate that at least now we have affirmative action and every district can have a female representative. When you talk about youth, we can have a female, you know, national representative. When you talk about district councils, we have female affairs at district council seating. So those are the gains that we can talk about. We are not yet where we are, and apparently the question that we have on the table that many people want to refer to is the effectiveness of where we have reached, the effectiveness of the gains that we have now, which I think it is a question for another day, as we still have to, you know, look at, are we where we want to be yet? It is the biggest question. So when we get to where we want to be, that's when we shall be, you know, redesigning the question of effectiveness. How do we draw this? How do we draw this? Because I have also seen a question of, you know, for example, for me, I would of course lean too much into the political side because that's where I am. Women advocating that they should be the only ones to vote for the district woman representative. A discussion that some people do not want to hear about, you know. So there is a lot that we have to continue pushing. The gains are there, but we still, you know, want to be somewhere. We want to have our positions. We want to be somewhere where we can have our voices heard, where we are effective, and you know, not just being somewhere and you're like a pawn, you know, and you're just there to you know, to represent a certain image that women are represented when they are not represented in actual sense, when there is somebody behind.
Okay, so you raised a couple of issues, and you end with the question of being at the table for aesthetics, you know, that it should look like you are part of the process. And I'm coming to you. I'm coming to you on that, Winfred.
Yes.
The has that you are, you know, whose rights you are pushing for. Are there any gains?
Are there any gains? First of all, I will say that the one thing I must first celebrate, even when I say that I don't want to use the word celebration, the first gain and one thing that we must celebrate are the contribution of women to correct the historical imbalances and wrongs. That is the first, for me, I would say that is, because that is where the fight begins. We had in place historical imbalances and wrongs that pushed the women who came before us to make sure that we need to correct these wrongs. So for me, that is a celebration, yes. And then when you say that, are there gains to count? Yes, there are. There are significant gains to count. There is an increase, if we try to compare, there is an increase in women of girls going to school. But again, on each gain, I'll raise a question. What is the retention? Even as we celebrate the gain, yes, the gain of girls, an increased number of girls going to school is there. But again, we also need to question, as we count that gain, should we really count it as gain, or where should we place it? Because what is the retention? Empowerment calls for retention. if we're empowering girls in school. And then when we say that, okay, yes, there is a gain of visibility of women in leadership, but does it amount to influence? So it leaves me with the question, okay, now, that is why I said, I don't want to use the word celebration. As we count the visibility of women in leadership, are we answering the question of empowerment? Are we answering the question of presence? Are we talking about participation? And then we say...
Are those things different?
Are they different? Of course they are.
Presence, participation,
and empowerment.
Can you participate when you are not present?
You can participate and be present, but when you lack power. And when you lack power, it means the empowerment is uneven. It means, that is why I would say that yes, the gains are there. We can see invisible gains, but they are uneven. They are unequal. They are for the few. We are talking about the gains for the few invisible. But empowerment speaks to the last woman. Empowerment speaks to, okay, we have women in leadership, but how many women have they carried with them? And notice, it's not about how many women they have carried with, but again, how is the distribution? You get? So yes, the gains are there, but they're uneven. They're unequal.
I will come to that question again, because if you, for example, talk about retention.
If you talk about what?
Retention. School retention, for example. And I will come back to these questions. We are setting ground for them. I mean, if you look at the graduation, okay, let's take the senior 6 results that have just come. We have how many? Maybe 600 and something, less than 700,000 people who completed the cycle of senior 6. But if you look at the numbers that join in primary one, they are more than 1 million. So where do the others disappear? And those are the questions we ask. Are they only girls? Are they girls and boys? I mean, these are the things you ask. And I pick from the things that you people tell me when I'm on the show. But I'm coming to you, Daniel. You see, Daniel, you know very well that I chair the board of a small community-based organization that we started recently called the Galaxy Boy Child Empowerment Initiative. Yeah, because we seem to also forget that the boy child is getting disempowered. But we are focusing on women. I know that in the beginning you tried to yellowize the women gains. but beyond the color yellow, are there gains to talk about in the first instance?
Comrade Waguma, if you will permit me, the subject to do with gains by women, the debate about the achievements, the journey the women have walked, which I must from the onset state that they have not walked it alone. And that is where when my sister Sayun talked about that there is even a proposal that women MPs should be voted by pure women, I think that will be regressing. That proposal should be abandoned. The journey to emancipate women, to have them cut off, to have them destroy the patriarchal negative ripple effects that come from therein, you will need the other gender. And I hope that that project of the women voting their women, although of course we are looking at special interest groups, I think in this respect, let's maintain men being part of the
women movement.
Of the
Voting.
After all, they are the ones who actually brought it up, because when you look at especially in the case of Uganda, really, you can see that there has been extremely goodwill on behalf of NRM. There could have been some other prior initiatives by previous governments, like the one of Obote. I was looking at this popular clip by Miriam Obote, and I think after her speech, a few things changed in Obote's government. Therefore, Comrade Baguma, to your question, really, you can see that the history of women movement, the differentiation, disparaging, the suffering of the women a lot has not just started yesterday. Society, even before I got this society as we know it today, even the biblical society, the information contained in the Old Testament, whenever, for instance, the armies would go to these battles, these wars that would be fought, they would say that our army was victorious. They managed to capture sheep, goats, slaves, and women. Meaning, therefore, that women were rated at that level. It is in the Old Testament. It is the Bible readers will bear me witness. Now, from there, you look at everywhere, be it in Asia, be it in the present day America, which considers itself to be the epitome of democracy, women were just allowed a right to vote not long ago in the United States of America. You look at the women that have offered themselves to lead in America, for instance, and how they have been denied their vote. In my opinion, I would want to, and I share this opinion with so many other people really, is that these societies were not ready, even up to now, they are not ready for a woman MP. Even in my opinion, when I think that a number of these women in America who have offered themselves would have even made better presidents by far. And this is not just there, even in Western Europe. You can see, even when we have had women, actually, Margaret Thatcher, etc., they have come up and they have offered credible leadership. But generally speaking, I think society, globally speaking, has been extremely patriarchal, and with it, there are a number of what my sister Winfred called historical wrongs.
Wrongs and imbalances.
Yes, there have been quite a lot of historical wrongs, and in the case of Africa, I want to credit Africa because when you go through the readings of, when you walk through the journey, the historical journey of women movements, majority of the kingdoms in Africa, present-day Somalia, in the Kush, Egypt, Sudan, in around Ghana, the Asante Hene, in Uganda here, the role of a woman in these kingdoms and chiefdoms was extremely very important. The Namasore, for instance, in Uganda was a very powerful office. You don't just jog around. In northern Uganda, I think in Achori, it was a woman to declare or stop war. Our colleague some time back was mentioning it here, and I remember it in one of the writings. You can imagine the power, therefore, to declare or to stop war being possessed by women. So, in a manner of speaking, like my senior colleague Pierre Orumumba would say, Africa had a much better way of recognizing and upholding the role of a woman in society than probably our other peers elsewhere in other jurisdictions. Nevertheless, in the case of Uganda, because by the time NRM government came into existence, there were quite a lot of imbalances, which I think my two sisters
Only
here,
40 years ago.
yeah, Ebre talked about. And we had imbalances in education, access to education, imbalances in access to opportunities to work, generate income, imbalances in politics, access to politics, and I think that is where is it 3/3 or 1/3 of the political office within the local government structure was reserved for women. That empowerment was as a result. And
so they are gains.
Absolutely. So I just want to conclude here by saying, look, when you look at it critically, the historical wrongs which came as a consequence of the patriarchal nature of our society, which is highly patriarchal, and which is not just limited to Uganda, but in Uganda's case, there has been grand effort by NRM, be it political, religious, educational, economic, and otherwise, maybe to also point out that recently, about 18 elective positions of MP, where men and women would compete, 18 positions that men would have ordinarily taken were taken by women. On top of their, because you are not going to say I'm a woman MP,
But do we deserve
a man.
just 18?
No, it is progress. You see, at the end of the day,
As you conclude.
yes, at the end of the day, and this is very important, by the way.
The rest weren't important.
No, I said they were important, but I'm saying this is very important for me to mention at this material time. You see, the point here is that when there is a gain which has been made, it's important to point it out. Then you say, okay, this one now we have, but is it enough? Can't we do better? In my opinion, really summarizing on this, that there is quite a lot that has been done under NRM, but there is a lot more that we can do going forward. Yeah.
So, Zion,
Yes, please.
enyama ntono ekoyana eri mu nkwano is what Dr. Garama is saying. Is that satisfactory? That you have your commit now, you can quarrel with that one and go.
Yeah, sure. We are, of course, quarreling with the meat because we are not saying completely that there is zero gain. We are saying there is something, but we are saying, is this what we deserve? I have asked him whether after 40 years, you telling me that over 360 something seats, we just deserve to have
No,
18
100, I mean for constituencies.
constituencies. They are
100
about-
and for districts.
No, about directly,
Oh, directly
elected, they are
elected.
about 300 something.
So you are coming up. no
Women are only having 18. And this is something that our people of NRM are proud of. No, you cannot be proud of that. Even when you look at our population of women, over 52%, I think 55 now, right? Because the statistics have been growing over time. If you still have women at that percentage and then you're celebrating that at that percentage, you're happy because women managed to scoop only 18 positions, then there is a question to answer. But nevertheless, we appreciate that at least we can go into the field, mingle around on grounds that are not, of course, leveled, because you still have a lot of, but we still have societies that actually, even when you're contesting for like that seat, they will tell you, Ejo Chaba Sajja. Where you come from, they call it Chabashij, even in my own district. So we still have those issues. We still have young children dropping out of school, young girls, because they cannot afford being, girls in school. Menstrual issues, we still have them. We still have a lot to do with it, so that we have, a generation that grows up and it is very proud of being girls. We still have in areas of Karamoja access to health issues. Mortality rate has gone a little bit down, that we appreciate. If you compare in the past 10 years to now, it has a bit gone down. So that we appreciate. It's again that we should celebrate, but it's not to the level that we want. There are some areas that do not even have midwives, hospitals. Women still die giving birth. Where that is, that we are supposed to have moved away from all that. but we are still lagging behind. But also, we hope we are going to, of course, get over it, but that is something that we need to, you know, have our eyes on. And I hope in the next 5 years, the people of the NRM will focus on it so that we have it at 0 level already. If you cannot even incorporate in your budget having young girls access free sanitary towels in schools, because apparently, if you look at the prices, I think the cheapest is like 5,000. The cheapest is sanitary towel. How many village mothers can afford that per month? It is something that we must look into very, very seriously. Issues of rape, access to justice, defilement, early marriages, and that when we talk about early marriages, we are really, really doing so bad. So bad. We have very young mothers, very young mothers. You go into areas and you find you have a 13-year having a baby. Early marriages. We need to look at that issue very seriously. It is eating up a whole generation of good women that we should have been having in the next 10 to 20 years. Yeah, so that those are the issues that we need to focus on in this you know, celebration. My sister was asking whether we should be celebrating. Yes, there is something to celebrate, something little. But also we do not.
I didn't say whether we should celebrate.
I don't want us to look at it as a celebration, but a call to awaken ourselves to the realities of what is happening. It should really be a call to assess ourselves on where are we, where do we want to go, how do we go there, which buttons do we need to press. Not just, you know, coming to, you know, Kololo and, you know, assemble women, bring women from, you know, villages, those that actually look good, you know, have a budget of billions and, you know, splash it there. We are supposed to have a serious review of what can we do for women of this country. Yeah.
Okay, so Winfred Mugambwa, you do not want to celebrate. Maybe you want to commemorate.
I want to count. That is why I said I love the thing, counting the gains. And just to add on what my sister said, when I'm speaking to that, you said Nyama Antono Okayanerwa you know, such slogans many times even keep people in situations that are worse. Last year, I want to use with that Nyama Antono example. There is a case that almost took me into depression. And I feel that maybe they even told the mother of this survivor that same slogan, Nyama Antono. There was a young girl, she was between 10 and 12, who was defiled. And how the mother came to know that this girl was defiled, that is why sometimes such slogans, I feel they are slogans for perpetrators to silence or even to still consume power, giving people just massaging the situation using such slogan. So this girl was defiled. At that time, it seems when she was defiled, the mother wasn't home. When the mother came back home, she suddenly saw the girl seated, the girl was bleeding. And the mother thought this young girl had started her menstruation periods. But again, it took 2 days, 3 days. It was becoming worse and the girl was starting to come out a smell. And between that time, the mother was like, maybe we are not clean enough. Maybe because it's the first time this girl doesn't know how to clean herself. She helped the girl. The things were worsening. On taking this girl to hospital, after some days, they found out that this girl was defiled. And the allegations with all the story and all when they were adding up the dots, the allegation, it could be that the father is the one who defiled this child. So the nurses advised the mother to take the child to hospital, to go and report at the police. when they went to the police, when they were at the hospital, the girl managed to speak that very first time. When they went to the police, they told me that yes, the father was called to the police to be questioned. The next time the mother and the child went back to the police, they asked the mother, is it fair for you? Are you even, do you know, they try to paint a picture in front of this child and mother. And now it was the father now paying the bills because the mother wasn't working. That is the nyama ntono. Musirike, you keep quiet. The good thing the father is nursing, paying the bills. What happened between those days, now the nurse explains to me because they needed help. The mother really needed help. She said, I need someone to help me. But before me going to the police again, or even taking the matter again further, because the police around here in Tororo has refused to help now. Someone needs to first give me money for business. Because I have 3 children, it means I have to get out of this house. You get? To get justice without getting more harm. So when they went back to the hospital for the checkup, I think this girl, out of the trauma, out of the different words that were said, okay, whatever happened to this girl during the time from hospital to police, then back home, the girl went mute. She could no longer speak. The only thing she could do was go and hug only one of the medical attendant. Just a hug.
It's a whistleblower syndrome now.
You get it? So such things of telling women that nyama ntono has caused a lot of problems in families, in society, in religious spaces. So for me, I can't say that when he says that you people nyama ntono mukayanenge eri wano, that is wrong. That is wrong. Let us be very intentional in such discussions. Yes, as women we appreciate. That is why I said, I am not saying that people should not celebrate. But again, what is celebration to you? If we are saying in Uganda they are celebrating, there is a way we've normalized things, and there is a way we've normalized celebrations. Taking women to Kololo, that is celebration. For me, I don't count that is a celebration. That is why I said, as I celebrate the contribution. I didn't say I don't celebrate, if you marked me well. I celebrate the contribution of women in correcting the wrongs, the historical wrongs and imbalances. Then now we have to count the gains, because truth is the gains are there. I am not saying the gains are not there, and I have mentioned some of the gains. But for me, as we say that we celebrate, what do we mean by celebration? You know, some of these things or words, we use them and normalize them because we found them there. To you, what is celebration? If I say that for me, I'm counting the gains, and one says for me I'm celebrating, then you need to, as someone is right, as they celebrate, they don't have to water down me who is saying I'm counting, because I have my reason why I say what I celebrate and what I count. You get it?
No, let me tell you why I don't.
Why you don't what?
I don't get it, because you have asked me if I get it, and
You
I've said
don't
I don't
get
get it. Let me tell you why I don't get it. You will help me get it. You see, if you are not celebrating and I'm celebrating,
It is okay for you to celebrate, and I'm not
Yes.
stopping you to celebrate.
yes, so you should also not water down my celebration,
No,
because
and
for
I
you,
am
you are
not.
counting the gains.
I am not watering down your celebration. And the good
So
thing,
if I go to Kororo and
and the good
celebrate,
thing,
and I
it is
spend the
okay.
money, what is the problem?
It is okay for you to go to Kololo and celebrate.
No,
But
it is
again,
not okay, because there are better things to
I'm
do.
getting there. It is okay for you to go to Kololo and celebrate, but you're celebrating. You know, when you are celebrating, does it speak to the women you're celebrating with, for?
It is the women who are celebrating, taking the lead, celebrating.
That is why I
So
say
does
that.
it speak to them
That
or
is
not?
where I'm saying that we should not determine that we've reached somewhere because of the visible gains we are. Yes, they are celebrating with the women in that bracket. So someone who is saying that they are celebrating, it is very okay for them to use the word celebration. It is very okay for them to celebrate, because let me give you an example. When we say that, okay, you know, this government has done a lot around injustices around women. Again, I'll ask us to go back when we speak about injustices. Are we speaking to the different injustices and again the different locations, and again, you get it? There are different layers. So in this discussion, as we speak about the gains, first of all, people who are saying that they are celebrating, they are not far away from me with saying that I'm counting. The only difference is how we choose
To celebrate.
and which lenses are we choosing to have this discussion. Yes.
Okay, so the
Because for me, if you ask me about what, if, okay, you said, Winnie, you say the gains are there and you're supposed to celebrate, I will say, okay, yes, let me go with what you want. And I will say, and you ask me, what are you celebrating? I will say, I am celebrating participation. I am celebrating performance, presence. Yes? I am celebrating the unequal visibility. I am celebrating, I will mention them. You get it? But I can't say that women have power. There is nothing to celebrate around power. No, because the positions we have, we celebrate the position, but does it amount to the influence?
okay, so I will go to the government shortly. So we move from lack of position to position, and then we have made some gain. Okay, I'm just being sure that I've listened to you. And then we get to that, and then it comes to influence, and then it comes to power. Yeah, very interesting. So let's take the positions that we have, and we will continue this engagement. We have vice president, we have speaker, we have prime minister, we have deputy prime minister.
Those are positions. Those are positions. That is presence.
Not positions of influence.
There are no
Those are,
positions of
you
influence.
people, there is a difference between positions of influence and being in position and influencing. Those are two different things.
I would want to know, is, for instance, the speaker, the vice president, the lead of government business, Robina, is the executive, for instance, of KCCA.
I love it when you're counting the numbers.
No, what I'm saying, wait a minute.
I'm just
Are we saying, and of course we are not naive, Winfred, we are not naive to know that there is still a journey to walk. But we are saying that those positions which I have pointed out, they are mere positions and they are not positions of influence, that women who see opportunity in holding those positions cannot use them to influence the positive changes in the gender.
No, to influence direct policies that benefit women. We can do a direct assessment, for example, the parliament. Do we have any direct bill that has passed to benefit a woman directly, looking at a woman down there to benefit them?
And
Even when we have more than 130 something
That's why we are
women representatives.
I think that's why she's saying that we have positions, but we are not using them to influence policies that directly benefit women.
Note that if the women themselves who have been elected in those positions if they brought those policies, they would not.
And by
Are we
the
sure
way,
they,
the problem
are we
is not
actually
the
sure that they
policies.
hold the power? Because you see, that is the conversation she's talking
Legislative
about.
power. I thought they do hold the legislative power.
Our problem, by the way, for me, I don't see any problem with the policies. The policies are there.
So what is the problem?
Are
now?
they being
But
implemented?
are they being implemented?
And why not?
If the
So-
positions, are they being effectively implemented? Are they intentionally implemented? So when we speak about these women are in position of power, that is a plus. But these women are not intentionally influencing. Then the question is, we need to interrogate the problem and we need to be true to ourselves, not even to the viewers. You know, this is not a situation of massaging or romancing each other. It is just questioning. We are just asking ourselves. Yes, because for me, policies are there. But if we feel okay, the influence has been there, then why are we still having with let me say, let's just take an example around, you're talking about the influence, and even now I'm going to give an example around education, and the person leading it is a woman, right? And then if we have the positions, we have the influential positions,
Minister of
why are
Education.
girls dropping out of schools?
And boys are dropping out
Yeah,
too. And
I'm
that's what I was
getting there.
coming to.
I'm getting.
So, and this is a
First
question
wait.
to the two of you.
First
I want you
wait.
to combine that with this. It's the a question to the two of you. You seem to say that the policies that are related to women are not implemented. The ones which are relating, there is no policy implementation in this country. There is dropout in this country. It's not just for girls.
Your question, why I can't answer your question, because you've asked me after immaturely listening to my submission about influence. You didn't allow me. You just waited for just one example. Can you allow me?
Yes, I allow you, but I also want you to allow me to steer this program, because
No, but
otherwise
it was Wilfred with the mic all the time.
Yes.
Actually,
Because
I
you
was
see,
supposed to come
the
in
Ministry
now.
of Education, because I let you.
I was talking about. You asked me a question around influential positions, and that is what I was responding to.
And I was intervening to say, when you say policies in this country are not implemented, we all complain about the same. It's not just policies relating to women. If you say dropout, it's not just dropout of girls only. It's dropout of boys. The Ministry of Education has a minister who is the first lady and a minister. You have a permanent secretary who is a lady. These are the two most influential people in that ministry.
You're diverting me from the discussion around women empowerment movement to citizen empowerment movement. We shall come to later.
We talked about influence. You are the one who brought influence.
No. You're telling me about the policies, boys and what. Yes, we are going to come to talk to the boys. You get it? But right now we have just started and we are talking about women empowerment. So when I say that, the policies are not...
As if it is for everybody.
Why are you speak for the boys?
No.
You speak for the boys and for the men.
I'm speaking for both. That when you say there is no policy implementation...
Personally, I'm first speaking to what brought me here. Counting the gains around the women empowerment movement.
And no celebration.
You would have you would have called me if you had called me here to speak about the gains around citizen empowerment movement. The discussion will be balanced.
All together.
Yes, but now I will speak about the boys even before we close. Boys are also suffering. I am a mother to boys. But before I speak to boys, they will come as a however.
Oh, they are
we are first handling the issue. Today you called me.
I get it.
Today you were very specific.
But Comrade Baguma, just a minute, if I may.
Thank you.
I hear, this is my take.
Yes.
I do appreciate the tempo that this debate has gained. And indeed, I expected this kind of thing.
Of course.
For me, as a seasoned debater, I'm really very happy about it. But I want to state the following. That even where Winfred and Sayuni, the footsteps, where they are trying their feet, there are others who have worked there. And a person like Honorable Wino Matembe, I mean Miriam Matembe, who Sayun has just been quoting here.
She's part of the game.
She's on the she's on the record.
Is she part of the game?
She's on the record. In a debate, we call that disarming, and in my legal practice, when I sense that you want to disarm me unfairly, I resist. So I do hereby resist that. Now, Honorable Miriam Matembe is on record having said that if she will not thank if she will discredit the NRM for all the other things, then she will credit the NRM for empowering women. That is her word. And she has not said it once, not twice, not three times. And I think Sayun will bear me out because she mentioned it here. Now, the Rhoda Karimas of this world, they have come up to say the same thing, including the few women who were even in NRA. Truth of the matter here, to me, really is that where are those areas where women, by nature of the patriarchal arrangement of our society, were distanced from, and yet they were influential for the well-being of women, first of all, as Winfred would want us to have the debate.
I want you to have your debate as you came along.
Therefore,
your views.
Where are those areas where women were really distanced from, and yet the positions, the aspects where they were distanced from are so important, critical, not to them as mere human beings, but the gender, women. We are talking about access to finance. Were they deliberate? You know, we talked about intentions here. Has the government been intentional in extending facilities, financial facilities, to women groups to get them out of that position, which was not largely a money economy, for them to have cash? To the best of my recollection, they have done some good endeavors in that direction. There was a time when not educating a girl child was the norm, because that's how society was arranged. Has the government, our government here, 40 years or 70 years, whatever you want to look at, however you want to look at it, what have they done in the direction that women, girl child is empowered? That if you do not take the girl child to UPE, the LC and other law enforcement agencies will come to you, whether that child is, it is even worse if the child is a girl. The NRM has done something. I'm not the official spokesperson of the NRM. I'm simply pointing out areas that should be forming part of our debate. And I'm saying that we know those gaps which NRM has bridged.
So you are pointing out the gains according to the NRM.
And if we are celebrating them, let's celebrate them.
We are going for a short break on that note. And let's take a short break. When we come back, we start from there. NRM, no NRM, 40 years, 70 years, like I said. Are there gains to count? Are there no gains to count? If there are gains to count, should we be celebrating? Should we not be celebrating? Thank you. Welcome back, and thank you for staying with us. It's The Bottom Line. Your program every Wednesday night, 9 to 11. It comes your way on Family TV, the Church of Uganda TV, the television stations that focuses on your family. And tonight, it's the women empowerment movement that we are talking about. And we are asking if there are any gains to count. We've been deliberate about that. And it's the Women's Month. It's just 10 days from the International Women's Day. And, you know, by the time we went, I think the debate had gained a bit of units on the thermometer. And we would like to pick it from there. But in studio, just to remind you, or if you have just joined us, is Helen Zion Sayuni, the president of the Uganda Young Democrats. And as she explained, that is what probably one can call the youth wing of the Democratic Party. The executive director of Rights for Her, my colleague Winfred Mugambwa, and of course my resident panelist, Dr. Daniel Rugaramba. But Matinka Simile Richard, I'm still steering for you. And I will go to you, the president of the Uganda Young Democrats. Are there any in the women empowerment movement in this country, are there any gains for female youth, for the women who are young?
Yes, sure, they are there, but allow me go back to where Dr. had stopped talking about the aspects of the aspects that we should appreciate as women, and he stopped at education, access to education. But you see, there is much to, if you give me something across the river and then you do not build the bridge for me to cross and pick it. We have access to education. There are those good policies and laws that, you know, speak to women going to school, but we are not looking at the aspects that actually deter or give the women and young girls headache when they go to school. And that is among the issues that I've been talking about, the issues of access to, you know, menstrual hygiene. It is a debate that we've had all the time on what the government should come on and have a conversation on how to deal with this, and the government is not willing. We are saying you're taking the girl child to school, but then after going to school, what next? Do you know that there is some discomfort that comes with her going to school and she cannot afford to keep in school? It is a serious debate. I want also to speak to access to justice. Do you know that we still have a lot of challenges with access to justice on women issues? When you know this back and forth, hospital, go see police, go see LC1. I want to give you an example. If when you with rape issues, the doctor has to examine, you have to LC1, you have to, you know, all those, and these are issues that are in our villages.
And until you, the victim, you have to give a story. How were you raped?
How were you
raped? Have to. Is it
you know,
easy?
And you know these stories. How best can we ease this process so that access to justice becomes so easy for women? With the defilement, telling the story from the start to the end. We have good laws about rape, about defilement. Are we having them implemented? If we talk to women, to rape cases and defilement cases that happen each year, how many people have actually been remanded to prison over these cases? Do you know that the poor do not access justice in this country? Those are the things that we should be talking about. We have the Women Council. How effective is the Women Council? Was it just put there for us to know that there is Women Council in this country, but when it is actually not operating? Have you seen them do any activity apart from waiting for the National Women's Day for celebrations and the Women Council chairperson comes to give a speech? Do you actually know that it is men in big offices who determine who should be the chairperson of Women Council. Yet us, the women who know who can speak well to our things, is there and cannot be put in office. Those injustices, do you want us to discuss them? And you know, when we talk about that question of men influencing in who becomes a woman representative per district, we are speaking to our pain of having somebody in office who cannot represent your issues. We are not saying we want to sideline men away from you know, voting. We are saying us women know our issues very properly, and we can actually tell who is going to represent us. If we have a national female youth MP, we have had, you know, a very good one, very eloquent, very smart, you know. Has she had time to look into issues of young women and table them on the floor of Parliament? If we have the National Female Youth Affairs in the National Youth Council, how often does she come on ground to speak to the young girls in schools, to speak to the young girls in villages, southwest and you know, in the north, and to listen to their issues? How often do we have these people come to us? You know, because those are
you noting the questions.
Those are directly the two almost positions that, you know, touch on the young woman that we have in the country. Do we have accountability platforms where, you know, we come and sit and say, yes, the women movement, this is how far we've come, to hold our leaders accountable over things that we think, you know, because you may tell me that you're giving me access to education, but are you actually sure the access I'm actually accessing education, or you're just having issues on paper and you're thinking that I'm actually accessing? Are we in touch with the realities on ground? Or we are just in Kampala accessing big platforms? Are you thinking about a woman that cannot access this TV station to talk about these issues? Do you know that we actually still have women who are still down in town here vending mangoes up to this time looking for school fees? But then you're talking about USE and UCE, and you put it on paper, gave us free education, you know. But are you actually sure that it is still free in our villages right now? Okay, if you give me free education and the book is at 5,000, are you sure I can, you know, afford that book? Can I afford books to write?
Oh,
yeah, books. Those are essential things. Are you looking at that life? Are you sure, you know, we can afford that life actually? We need to accept that there are gains, but are the challenges up to the time that we are up to now, that we are in right now? Because the gains actually may have been, you know, probably relevant in 2021. Are they still relevant now? If you tell me you gave me free education, yes, I have it. Are you sure it is what is still very relevant up to now?
That if you empowered them by 1.5 for entry at university,
exactly,
is it still relevant?
Is it still relevant to the realities of what we are in now?
So we scrap it.
We don't scrap it, but I am saying we need to, you know, review these policies. Do we ever have time to review the policies that we have, the laws that we have, and look at whether they are still up to the aptitude of, you know, benefiting women? That's a very, and I think it's a very uncomfortable debate that most people do not want to engage in. You know, if you have women council every village, you have a woman representing women, and you know the leadership of our, you know, our women is that it is top bottom. It starts from top and goes up. But normally, how is the linkage between the top then to down? Do we ever have time for the top to come down and listen to the people, or we are just, you know, up and not putting our ears on ground? It's something very important that we need to note and think about.
Okay, so this is usually the challenge of debates, that then we have a series of questions And we go away without any, any answer.
There are people. These questions are to the people that we are fronting them to people who we think have something to say about them. It is also important that they get these questions because we may not have all the powers, you know, to have them answered. But I know there are people out there who have the power to answer them, and they will get to them.
I thought doctor was going to give
No,
us
no, because you see, as we go forward, I think we also need to advise those you say have power.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, so what do they do? And the things, like I already say, the things we propose should also be realistic and contextual. Because it's okay to have a wish list of things which cannot be realized anyway. It's also realism must also be injected in the debates that we have, in the discussions that we have. Otherwise,
And I want to give an example of something that is possible.
yes.
Do you think it's not possible to ease menstrual hygiene for women?
And that's not a
Still a
suggestion.
question.
That's
Do
yet
you
another
think
question.
it's-
That's not yet another question.
No, I
I'm
am
looking
giving
for
you a
suggestions.
possibility. Don't we have
Because-
free things that are actually optional?
Because let me
in
tell
this country?
you. Let me tell you.
But I think as
let
she
me tell
was
you why the
speaking-
debate when I don't hear. It's okay to let you ask questions and go away. But
Yeah.
if I don't hear proposals, I kind of feel we have not done justice.
Okay, my question, I think my proposal came in form of a question. But there is a way we can ease menstrual hygiene for young girls.
Because currently, Makerere University should be faculty of science. They are producing this papyrus pads for girls. Now, if there was a
Reusable
deliberate,
pads, yes.
if there was a deliberate plan, policy, like my sister here is proposing,
Yes.
that we inject money specifically to have mass production. Because you see, that, just briefly read on that also disturbs an ordinary mind. Now when it comes to this ref again, it gets worse. Because I know the president, I mean the Minister of Education and Sports as not just a mother, that is a biological fact, but also as a Christian, a practicing one, and also who has got, because her and Angelina Wapakaburo started that thing of, so you can see she has got that touch with, is it called empathy? To a girl child really, she's very, I think, and I am sure she's listening in one way or another. She's viewing this program, and her handlers will take this message to her. This is something, especially as far as the girl child is concerned. You remember it even emerged during Amambo's campaign. It was that one, and also the free pens and calculators and that kind of thing. It is something that must be implemented in this swearing after the new cabinet has been sworn in. It is not big, really.
But,
Yes, thank you.
But you see, Winfred,
Finally, that is doable.
Yeah, sure. Sure.
Is my realism pessimistic? Because you see, if this is possible, and if these people know, the ones whom we think have power to do it, and we think have the resources, and it has been discussed. I'm just taking this one example, but there are several other things. Why, if our ifs are true, then it doesn't happen? Are they evil people? Are they reckless people? Are they lazy leaders? Are they incompetent fellows? I mean, I'm also asking very good questions because it's how come the things don't happen? Maybe we are not addressing the right issues. Maybe me and you, for her. Rights, maybe we are not addressing the right rights. We are not using the right approaches. We are not.
Truth is, we need to get away from the moment we draw a line and then we start speaking to they, and we put the they there and the us here. That is where the problem begins. But away from that, before that, I want to take us back to to, and then I'll get to your question. I loved it when Doctor was ably speaking about patriarchy. And again, I'm coming because this is going to answer your question. He ably, even when he started, was ably speaking about patriarchy. But again, towards the discussion, it was like this discussion about women should have been like this. Patriarchy comes dressed in different ways. Even you suggesting how a debate about women should be shaped in such as we give our view is patriarchy. You men are having an issue around women asking women to be the ones to vote fellow women, and for you feel you're going to be sidelined, and you feel that is not okay. Do you know where it's coming from? It's not coming from that you feel for women. No, it is coming from patriarchy. I had you speak to it and I was like, Bambi, patriarchy comes dressed in different ways. Now this one is smartly dressed. You know, there is a harm in having patriarchy, especially when you're privileged. And that is now where I'm answering your question. The
But
problem when you
same.
speak from, I will forget this answer.
Oh, you go. Sorry.
I have even already spoken.
Oh, no.
Every time you speak from the position of privilege, that is where we are missing. I can't say that these people are evil. They are not. I don't think they are evil. But I feel many of us have been consumed with the privileges we have, the different privileges. That is why we are proposing that, okay, only 2 points. What 2 points are you proposing as you ask for solution? There are some 2 points that doctor suggested that should be after, you said after Mons, one should be, will that also work for someone in Karamoja? You know, these issues of women and girls, even if it's boys. You told me that I have to balance the boat. These issues of humanity, you don't have to generalize a solution. And that is another problem. Because we are speaking from a position of privilege, we end up having one solution to work in Kampala. That same solution, a campaign runs. You get? The government brings, let me even take it to an example that Doctor brought. Doctor, I'm very sorry, you know I love you so much. And I want to refer to your good example. Doctor gave an example around economic empowerment. And it was like, the government has done economic empowerment. Women are accessing loans. What does it mean for me? I'm not saying they've not done. But this is now the privilege I'm talking about, that people are making decision out of privilege and making one decision to work for Winnie, who is in Kampala, who has access to ABCD, and the same policy to work for Winfred in Karamoja, who doesn't have access to many things Winfred in Kampala has access to. I'm talking to economic empowerment. Yes, women have access to economic empowerment. Yes, we have programs around PDM, and starters, it's 1 million. You get it? We are giving this 1 million to a woman who is renting. Yes? We are giving this 1 million to a woman who is who has to take a child to school. We are giving this this is small scale, but maybe that is not her problem. But because this nice project, by the projects are nice, but I feel we need also to change the implementation ways, so that the implementation that works for the person in Wachiso, when that same project is taken to Karamoja, is taken to Isingido, is taken to Hoima, Kasese, Busoga, the program implementation has to change. It can't. That is where these people have good intentions. That is why we even have good policies. We have very good programs. But because we are not allowing the real person. That is why she she asked a question. Why is it that it is the men to influence who is leading? You say the youth what? Why? That was to the men. Who puts the person in position? So the main problem is we are not understanding.
I'm even worried.
We are trying so
I'm
much.
even worried to ask questions now.
Why are you worried?
Because you see,
You're being asking from a privileged point.
that's the, because you see.
No,
when-
the moment you
when
witness-
when you start these discussions, you get beaten into a corner, and you actually start fearing to make a contribution, because then you get told the things you are saying, and you become guilty.
Why are you feeling guilty?
Because I'm being
Accused.
yes, I get accused
what?
of being from a privileged position of being patriarchal. Let me tell
The
you,
thing
and
is-
these are the things
You're
because
still suffering
Mr. Baguma.
so is there a position, for example, for men to be part of the discussion?
Mr.
Is there a
Baguma.
position? Is there a training or equipping of men not to be patriarchal, even when they have good intentions, like you say they have good intentions?
Mr. Baguma, women empowerment is not about sidelining men. You see, doctor, I'll call you my brother because
yeah.
I have brother doctor. I have a doctor. Yeah, my brother here spoke so much around what men have done, and has spoken about so much about historical patriarchy imbalances. He also spoke to it. That means that as a man, he acknowledges that there is a problem. So we are not saying as we empower women, we are sidelining men. No, we are even calling you to, you have to, a man has to, we want to see men say that what the women are saying, yes. We want to see men fronting the injustices and say, yes, this injustice is there. And we need to work on it. We need to see men speak to the harmful social norms. We need to see men to speak to the religious harms and
are they not?
And we are talking about sidelining. So for us, those we acknowledge those who are, and they're there who are genuinely speaking to it. But the moment you start speaking about them and then you start, but as men, when you get that, if you're going to do it, but again, then you're not coming from a genuine comfort. If you're coming to speak about, genuinely speaking about them, move, be with us.
By the way,
Okay, I wanted to take you on realism. No, on realpolitik. You are a politician. I want to take you on this. Because you see, when we are talking about politics and influence and power, why do you expect, for God's sake, that woman or man will come and hand it over to you?
No, I wanted to. You know
Where does that happen?
I wanted to tell you something, Winnie. These days, if you're listening to people very well, there is a complaint. You're grooming women, making them ready for who? For men who are not ready. So
why don't men make the men ready?
Or there is a conversation of we are leaving men behind. And I want to appreciate some organizations these days when they organize trainings, for example, for women, they tell them come along with your men, and then they go and you listen to what they are telling women about.
No one is leaving men behind.
Things that are actually,
truth is, men are leaving themselves behind.
I have asked about realpolitik,
Yes.
the realism. Who comes and hands over power? Where have you seen that happen? That you see somebody has a power, woman or man,
This is not power
and they have come and given it away. Where have you seen a woman MP leave the seat and just leave it for the
We
other
are
one?
not talking about
For example.
power handover. We are talking about negotiation for space.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
That who just comes and concedes.
Actually, what we are doing is not fighting. We are doing what we call negotiation. We are negotiating for what we deserve.
Yes. And that is okay.
And we want you to understand it from the point of view that, from the normality point of view, that this is normal. A woman is a human being, deserves to be treated like any other human being, deserves to, right of life, because these are just rights. We are playing
about
around with what we
balance.
call rights. And rights shouldn't be, you know, about whichever gender, who is where, what. No, it should be about the fact that you're a human being, you have this right to life, you have this right, you know, to enjoy what, you know, the world.
Equal
But
access
it
to
doesn't happen like that.
opportunity.
The world is not balanced that Africa will get equal rights with Europe and America. No, that's not how things work. They will be imbalanced, the trade imbalanced. That's what it is. You will not join. You will not join. You will not be clergy
It
in
is
certain
like-
religions.
You're speaking to this verse in the Bible where Jesus said that we shall live with the poor. Is it what you're trying to?
No, I am not. I don't know that verse. I am speaking to what is real on the ground, the realism. That you will not be part of a certain clergy. This is what it is. You are not going to be allowed to be part of that.
But
clergy.
then there is something that we can do there.
Yes, and you see that's
And it's even that credit that we cannot be part of. We need that at the end of it all.
no question about it. But they don't allow you in, and this is the reality.
But what we are trying to do is that we are going to make our way there.
That's
is why
exactly
it
what
is
I'm
a
saying.
journey.
Yes.
That you have to. We actually, not just you, all of us, we have to fight somewhere
That
to
is
get
why it is
to get
called
into
the
somewhere.
women movement. It is still moving. It's a movement.
Absolutely.
Yes.
There's no question.
Yes.
So, and that's why we are asking about gains. We actually should also ask about losses. We just didn't want to be negative.
The losses are there. We are not saying they are not there. A lot of them. Yes. A lot of them.
And so, Rugarama, do you feel sidelined? You are too quiet.
No.
Doctor just agrees with some of the things we are talking about.
I'm really enjoying this. I'm not the type to get sidelined so easily. I know of one of my very good friends, a seasoned writer, a feminist, our sister Chimamanda Adichie, Nigerian and American. And listening to Winfred, you would think that they have been sharing some lecture room for some time now. I'm glad because if I have understood Winfred very well and Sayuni here, all they are saying is that look, the world presents us with equal opportunities.
Does it?
The problem, yes, it does.
That's why we have
The problem is that human beings, when the world provides us, because you see, apart from biology, that we certainly have got
You mean nature?
features.
You mean nature?
This is the world now.
No, the world is more than nature.
No, I'm saying, when you look at the world the way it is, and how because we are just a small part of the world, we as human beings, although we have that ultimate supremacy over the rest of the creation, but the world is much bigger than us as human beings. So what the world did, or what the world does, is to present us with these opportunities. Now for us as human beings who are given the supremacy over these other rest of the other creation, we end up saying, because woman, you are a woman, biologically you are this, you are not going to do this. Now, because also the other aspect is that what has happened over time is that we have borrowed so many of our culture from other cultures. And with that, I think that's where we get a bit of a problem, whereby we say, look, women in African setting are supposed to do like this. Now, when we tell you, and Sayuni here, that look, gone are the days, for instance, when twins would be born and they would be killed. And that cuts across. It
Okay,
doesn't have
should
to
we
be
go
women.
back there so that also men go to hunt and stay in the bush?
I have not concluded my point. So what happens is this. We agree that the moment we agree that culture is not static, then we shall get so many things correct. Because we cannot keep in the past, for instance, where strictly a woman, generally speaking and largely speaking, a woman was restricted almost 90% or 80% to the kitchen. No, those days have since lapsed. We have evolved where we have adopted the different type of education system, the white man's education system, which has catapulted all sexes to a certain level, and you cannot close a certain sex out of certain opportunities. Otherwise, you would be judged to be chauvinistic. Now, there are areas which were pointed out here. In the judiciary, for instance, the issues of rape, leave around defilement, because defilement, that's a different case altogether, in the sense that we are talking about really minor. But in the cases of rape, what they have done, just to alleviate, during the process, to alleviate the situation, is that it is no longer open court. The element of closed court, where the media and whoever other people are not necessary, so that you can really tell the story. Because in the past, there is even a judgment where a lady who was raped when it was raining and she had gone for shelter, and then the judge said in delivering a ruling, because she couldn't openly say, the man go to me and he put his private parts in mine. It was so obscene, you know, culturally. I mean, how does it come out? And in the writing the judgment, the judge was like, the victim has actually killed her own case because she could not clearly come out to say what actually happened. Although I sympathize with her because I could understand where she comes from. Now you can see that is a very problematic judgment. And I think that is what Winfred was trying to talk about here. But what they have done in that respect is that apart from the closed hearings, they have also gone ahead to have specific streamlined courts, way of going around like special courts, whereby it is not these other general things. And the point there, and they have put in some special funds to ensure that they expedite, you know, whatever cases come through, then they are handled expeditiously, and also they are given specific great attention. So in line, because you are asking about solutions, where are we going really? I think they realized that that was a problem, and it was a gender-based issue, and therefore they have systematically worked out how they can. We may not be there yet, but you can see that there is progress in that direction. So the general picture to me really is that this whole thing of spillovers of patriarchal way of arrangement of society, especially here on the African continent, has not been helped so much by some elements of imperialism, and we know what imperialism does. It comes with all sorts of things. What Sayun here was talking about, that the women, for instance, who are empowered, a little bit empowered, or so much empowered, they will come to these wonderful TV stations, speak a lot of English, but at the end of the day, they will not have influence to change so much on the grassroots down there, how things are happening. For me, really looking at policy, looking at implementation, what has our governments done over a number of years in terms of these other areas which were pointed out, so many of them where women were disfavored in terms of policy, in terms of funding, in terms of implementation. I think something has been done. If one asked me, is it enough? No. So what? So we are challenged that we can do better all together.
Okay. Winfred, we can do better. Can we? If we can, what should we be doing better?
Can we do better? If we can, what can we do better? Empowerment calls for power, like I said. It calls for access. It calls for dignity. It calls for urgency. If we are not going to intentionally embrace those aspects, if people in positions of power are not ready to embrace access and then just embrace participation, embrace presence, it means no. That is, we have to rephrase the question. Because if we keep on consoling ourselves that, you know, we have done something, yes, that one we have talked about it. It has been talked about all the time. But if we are still having women being raped, if we are still having increased number of GBV cases, if we are still having increased number of dropout girls dropping out of school, or either even boys, if we are still having young teenage pregnancy, if we are still having women, like I told you how I was passing here and very many women are carrying buckets and baskets on, and yes, these women are getting the money, but why don't we have them access bigger amounts? By the empowerment calls for ownership. If we are not ready to have the last woman own property. I was somewhere there in the north and they were telling me for them, there was a case to handle. For them, this woman was telling me wanted to buy land. Her money. Problem, she wasn't married. And there was a question why she's not married. So because she had money, and she wanted to buy land, but in their culture, you can only buy land and own land if you have a man. And on that, as you purchase, the man has to sign as the principal what?
Witness.
If you don't have a husband, it has to be your brother. You get it? Empowerment speaks to ownership. We can do better if we are ready to face the truth. If we are ready to get away from small talks of at least we have done something, that puts us in comfort zones. Doctor, that is putting us in comfort zones.
Well, my
issue is
that I don't think NRM would
why
be the
me,
kind
I'm a non-partisan. You know the problem is, Mr.
But we're
Baguma,
talking about 40 years.
the problem is, I didn't see me, you didn't call me here to talk about 40 years. So I am not, when we so much now shift this conversation to partism, you're leaving me out. They will talk about DP, you will talk about NRM. Me, I'm a citizen and I'm speaking from the lenses of a citizen.
Of an independent woman.
So when you bring me to debate, you want me to debate. You want me. I'm not talking about government. You want me to debate now. Is for us NRM? Me, I'm debating as a citizen, so I can't. When you refer me to me NRM, I don't know what you do in NRM. I know what you do, what you're not, what is done out here. So let's not debate around party wise. That is where now the problem comes.
Winfred, can I tell you something?
Yes.
You are protected. Your space is protected. Just go ahead and make your presentation.
Government.
I acknowledge government, but as even when you're debating, and
No.
I accept that NRM is in power,
but
I will still say NRM is not giving power to the people they are putting in position. Is it what you want me to say?
No.
They are not intentionally. Let me say, let me rephrase. And these are the things you people need to tell genuinely. Jaja, let me call Jaja, because that is the slogan he loves using. Our president needs to have people around him who tell him openly, not the people who will fear to tell them and massage situations because they don't want to lose positions in or even not positions of ministry. Even just being a member, to some people that is a position.
Yes, it is.
Our president needs people around him, and most of them around him are not telling him the truth. That, you know what, the PDM you brought is a very good program, but the implementation, how we are supposed to run the program does not work for a person deep down because of ABCD. We are giving a person who walks miles, by the time he reaches where they are, he has even, you get it. Not to just massage and clap hands and tell the president, this is something good. No. You get it? With the good intention the president comes with these programs he's bringing on table, with the money he's put on, he's lacking people he's telling him the truth where he's failing. Because they are fearing to lose position. And that is our problem in Uganda. We are having people in position who are in position just to keep the position, people who are there to just celebrate their gains and not talk about not talk about the dangers in how far we've gone, because they fear. That is the problem we are having.
Dr. Rugaram, you are having a real problem. You are a cheerleader.
I don't see this as a problem. I see in the world of debate, the ability, there used to exist a man called Dr. Nabwiso. That was Kagoma Frank, Kagoma the late now. And I remember he used to come to Makerere and he would guide. He'd say, see, in the world of debate, even if you do not, the maximum is that you must protect the right of your fellow debater, even if you are 100% disagree with what he or she is saying. Now, fortunately, in my case, I don't disagree with, for instance, what my sister Winnie is saying, at least not 100%. And that being the case, therefore, the little that I may have different views from hers is the fact that, you see, in any establishment, when we are talking about society, a leadership is the one that provides the spectrum under which certain things must be done. Now, when I brought in the issue of NRM, all these things, the empowerment of women we are talking about, I had, she admitted that I brought in the historical perspective. I historized the empowerment of women throughout the world and in time, in memorial time, that before we even talk about these modern times, how was our society arranged? Even in the Bible, I went there and I showed you how society was arranged and the position of women. But when you come to the New Testament, of course, now in the Bible, you will find that there are women of valor, women who were also equally influencing. But at the same time, as we talk about modern society now, these challenges we are looking at, and in NRM in particular, you will realize that NRM came with the intention of correcting some of the wrongs, and not all of them, of course, some of the wrongs which it discerned as indeed wrongs, and women were participating in correcting some of those wrongs, to the extent that when we had the likes of the Rhoda Karemas, the likes of Miriam Matembes, the Winnie Byanymas of this world, all these people, they reached the point where they said, yes, this government has really brought something where women have stepped into the gap and they are now influencing. For me, I would tell you, my problem is not that the systems have not been put in place. Okay, let's credit NRM for putting systems in place. If, for instance, access to education, the bridges that they were talking about, if the bridge is the one which is weak, not that it may not be there, no, they have created a system that every child, particularly girl child, accesses education. But the bridge to link the girl child to that education is weak, that probably now a few of them are
Brown.
passing there. Let's strengthen the bridge.
Yeah.
If we are talking about access to funding, and it is PDM, it is a system that has been established, and it's a good system, we admit. Problem is operationalization, like Winfred is saying. Fine, let's now think about operationalization. We are talking about women being segregated and not given enough political inclusion. And we are saying, because of that, we say there are going to be special interest groups whereby there will be a position of national female, youth female. And they are going to be, for every district, a MP for women. If the issue was that having women in parliament, they are going to articulate the position of a woman, and they are not doing it. Let's now emphasize, because it is now for her, and even us, to say, but you see, since we brought this affirmative action, why are women issues not properly articulated and worked on? Including, by the way, do you know what it would mean if the women in parliament, as far as the issue of the sanitary pads are concerned, if they staged a demonstration in parliament, they all came, God forbid, but they can do it without bras or no browsers. They only have bras, and say, now next time, if you don't solve this problem as a government, we shall not come with skirts. That will be solved. So, but it is a women cause.
As we conclude,
that's the point I'm making. It's a women cause. There is, for me, if you want me to conclude on this, I will tell you that NRM has put in place systems. The systems need strengthening. The people that have been empowered, if they do not want to work to the satisfaction of the people who brought them or the interests they represent, then really it would be too much to blame the government, which has established the systems, and the people who are put in place to make sure that the systems are strengthened and they benefit from the same are not doing their job. Let's hold the people responsible accountable.
Sayun, we are winding up. We have probably 5 minutes to go. We need to share it.
Well, thank
Yes.
you. For me, as I conclude, I want to appreciate the goodwill of the government, because we cannot say the government does not have the goodwill. There is some goodwill. In as much as we have some systems that are not working, in as much as we are still demanding for more, but we have something to show as women. We have something to show that women can now speak up, women have positions. The question of influence should come later. It's something that maybe we can continue pushing for, because we are a movement. But also, I want to ask that women in positions of leadership, and in case you're able, please represent the women movement well, so that we have a good name and we continue thriving on it. It does not look good and it doesn't sound well at all for the women movement if they're talking about corruption scandals, and it is the women that, you know, are seated in front of that table talking about corruption. And still, if you have a position, can't you influence at least a certain policy for women? Can't we have regional female hospitals for women? Can't we have them at sub-regional level, so that we have, you know, specialized women hospitals? How many do we have in the country right now? Can't we have them at sub-regional levels? How many hospitals do we have that even actually have these doctors that work on women? Gynecologists, yeah, thank you so much. I had gotten out of my mind. Do we have hospitals that have gynecologists that work on women? These are issues that I think our government should continue working on. And of course, as we support them as women, because we know they cannot work in isolation. And for the Women Council, if you give them a budget, can you allow them to do their job? Because I think right now they have a budget, but it is controlled somewhere. That's what I think. Because we do not see the activities they are doing. And you know, for us, we listen to what is in the corridors. There is a problem with the budgeting process of the National Women Council. Can't we allow women to do their work? And you know, the Give to Gain campaign, if you have something that you can give a fellow woman, please do. If you can hold a young woman's hand, go to school, help them access what they need, please do. And you know, the movement should continue. Yes.
Winfred, you have the last word.
Thank you so much. As I conclude, first I want to thank Family TV for contributing to the urgency, voice, and empowerment of women. Just having this space to have us speak to the cause, they're adding something to the women movement. So thank you so much to the management of the Family TV. And as I thank the government for the so far counted gains, I encourage us not to be comfortable. I encourage the government not to be comfortable, because when we have systems that are exclusive in any way, we have to count. Every time we speak about women empowerment, we have to ask ourselves, which woman are we leaving behind? Which place, what is that area we are not reaching? That should always be our first front question. But if we are having, yes, we are saying, okay, the system are put in place. But if the system at any one point have a small leakage of exclusion, it has a problem, then there is a bigger problem. There is a bigger problem. But I know we are still walking this journey. Let's just, and I believe that as we speak, and as we continue engaging, let's have dialogues. Let's continue with the dialogue, because like I said, let's not draw a line at them and us. We cannot, they cannot do this without us, and we cannot achieve what we want without them. We need to bridge the line and have the solutions. Thank you.
We need to bridge the line and go to the next program so that we don't eat into their time. I would like to thank you so much, Madam Sayun.
Thank you.
From the Uganda Young Democrats.
Yes.
Yeah, the president. Thank you so much for coming. You're welcome again. Dr. Daniel Rugarama, we will keep praying to God so that you don't leave anyone behind. And Edie Mugambwa, thank you for working for the rights for her. We hope that we've made a contribution. We hope we can continue making a contribution to this issue of empowerment of, in Uganda, the largest segment of the population, because females are the largest segment of this population. And world over.
Oh yeah.
That is the statistic, really by God. Thank you so much for staying with us throughout. We hope you are going to stay with us ongoing. We hope you are going to join us again on Wednesday, 9 p.m. We need to keep the momentum going as we look at the bottom line. It was the bottom line of with the women empowerment movement and looking at the gains. Baguma Tinkasimir Richard, wishing you a good night and praying that the Lord Almighty will keep you well.
In a time where every decision matters, where leadership, governance, and accountability define our future, we break down the social and economic issues affecting everyday citizens. This is the show that asks the hard questions. Beyond politics, we focus on facts, analyses, and real solutions. Join the conversation, because the future